The Kentucky Small Business Development Center is a statewide, nationally accredited program that provides no-cost, confidential business coaching and training services. Whether you're just getting started or are ready to expand, we have the tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. We're part of a national network, America's SBDC, with over 1,000 centers across the nation. To learn more about how the Kentucky SBDC can serve you, please visit KentuckySBDC.com or email us at info@KentuckySBDC.com. You can also reach us by calling 888-414-7232. Thank you for joining today's webinar. The chat feature is available for you to ask questions and interact with today's speaker. Please take a moment to introduce yourself and where you are watching from today.
Hi, and welcome everyone to today's Wednesday webinar. We're very excited to have everyone joining us. And as more people roll in, we'll just give it a little bit before we introduce our speaker today. But I'm Devaney King, and I'm a coach here with the Small Business Development Center in Kentucky. And we're excited to have you, like I said, and I can tell that there's excitement as well in the chat room. We already have people knowing the drill, putting in the chat box where they're from, who they are. Mary, Laura, Shannon, we got Stephen from Owensboro, Sonia and Ben Ruiz, Edward from Louisville. It's fantastic to see everybody. Keep them coming through. Let us know where you're from, where you're tuning in from. And then also if you want to give a shout out to, the business that you're representing today. So as mentioned on the video, we are the Kentucky Small Business Development Center. We've been around here in Kentucky for over 40 years, serving entrepreneurs and startups looking to grow, scale, and fund their business. And as a coach, I know I do myself, but a lot of coaches, we share often that we get questions about branding in particular. So what we wanted to do is seek out an expert in that field to deliver some more in-depth content to you all today. And that's why we're bringing in El Petrillo with Brand Builders Group to talk about the power of personal branding. So you all are in for a fantastic treat. And as mentioned in the video, utilize that chat box, drop some questions throughout the presentation. I'll be monitoring that, and then we'll address those questions at the end. But for now, you all are in great hands, and I'll pass it over to Elle.
Thanks, Stephanie. Hi, all. I'm Elle Petrillo, and the question is what people normally ask us when it comes to personal branding. There's so much confusion around what branding means. And so that's the first question I want to dive into is what does it actually mean to have a brand? Now, before I share what that is, I want to talk about all the things that people naturally go to when I say personal branding. Oftentimes, people immediately start thinking about their social media and their Instagram feeds and their videos that they need to put out and their content that they need to put out. Other people, their mind will jump straight to their website and the design and the look and the feel and the messaging. Some people talk about their logo. Some people talk about photography and the colors. But ultimately, what we say is a brand is your personal brand is what people think of when they think of you. That's it. What people think of when they think of you. So I want you to take a minute. I can't actually see the chat right now, but go ahead and put in the chat. What are the words that people think of when they think of you, or what do you want them to say when they think of you? So for example, when people think of me, what I hear a lot is I'm a straight shooter. I'm direct. I'm kind. I'm kind of like the best strategist you'll ever meet. I'm an amazing salesperson. I am like a peanut M&M where I'm really hard on the outside, or excuse me, really hard on the outside. Then I'm soft on the inside. Then I get hard again. I heard I'm sassy. Now, I don't claim any of these to be true. I'm definitely sassy. I'll take that one. But I don't claim them to be true. They're just what people naturally think of when they think of me. And so the nice thing about that is if you know what people think of when they think of you, you can play to that. Or if you go, I don't like that, you can change it. And so another word for your personal brand is what we call reputation. Now, where does reputation come from? Because we all make sense. We all have a reputation. We all think of people's reputations. We make decisions based off of people's reputations. We look up reviews to learn about people's reputations that we don't actually know ourselves. So for us, we've created what's called the reputation formula. So ultimately, what the reputation formula is, and go ahead and write this down, is your results times your reach is your reputation. Your results times your reach is your reputation. So results, many times people that we work with at Brand Builders Group is they have the results. They've built businesses. They've had success. They've had things their entire life that have been a proven track record of success for them. The thing is, no one really knows about them, so they don't have reach. Or maybe people do know about you, but you haven't really done much in the business world yet. And so you don't necessarily have the results. Or maybe you're starting from scratch. Maybe you're still brand new to this and you haven't necessarily had results in the area that you're focusing on. And people don't really know about you yet. And so with that, your reputation's kind of out there, kind of whittling in the air, I guess you would say. So ultimately, what we want to look at is results times reach is your reputation. So I have a few examples of this. The first one, y'all might recognize this woman. Go ahead and put her in the chat if you do. This is Mother Teresa. So Mother Teresa, chances are you know who she is. She's done a lot of great things in this world. And so for us, she has a strong, positive reputation. Now we see this guy and we know this is Adolf Hitler. He's done a lot of harm in this world. So a lot of good, a lot of harm. But again, most people, if you show this picture, knows who it is, which means he has a strong reach. So you can have a strong reach and have positive results and a strong reach and have negative results. So ultimately, he has a very strong, large, negative reputation. So the question, again, is looking at yourself. Do you have results? Do you have reach? Do you have both? Do you have neither? Where do you need to focus? The other thing is going, well, what matters more, results or reach? Well, I'm going to show you this guy. Chances are, again, you know who this is, Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is the #1 most winningest Olympic gold medalist in swimming from the United States. Okay? We know who he is. Now, again, I'm going to show you this picture. And I gave you a clue by her swim cap. But chances are, unless you're a big swimming fan, you can't think of this person's name. And this is actually Jenny Thompson. So Jenny Thompson, believe it or not, is the #1 most winningest Olympic gold medalist for swimming from the United States on the female side. So question is, why do we all know who Michael Phelps is? But very few of us can look at this picture of Jenny Thompson and go, I know who that is. He's everywhere. She's not. And they both have equal results. They both are extremely accomplished. But again, one has a bigger reach than the other. Even though they've been on the biggest platform for athletics in the world, one has a larger reach than the other. Now, we don't work with either of them, so I can't tell you exactly why that is, but it just shows you the power of reach, which begs the question, what's more important, results or reach? And again, I'm going to have y'all put that in the chat. I just want to take a little peek in there. So results or reach? People haven't put in there. So what matters more for us, it doesn't matter if results come first or if reach comes first, because they're equally important. Because look at this person. Now, again, if you follow the news, we know she was stripped of that because of taxes, whatever it might be. But this is Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner built a reach before she did anything in business. She was on a reality TV show. Their family has blown up. Their mom is a genius in marketing. But ultimately, she built a fan base first. And then that fan base led to her results. When she launched Kylie Lip Kit, it sold out within minutes right away. And she went on and created this huge successful cosmetics company along with other things because she had a fan base, because she had a reach, because she had an audience of people that were willing to do whatever she asked them to do or to buy whatever she asked to offer. And so when we work with a lot of small business owners, the number one thing we hear from people is going, I need more money. I need more clients. I need to make more sales. I need to drive more revenue. I need to sell more of this. I need to bring in more people. But a lack of revenue is never your biggest problem. A lack of reputation is your biggest problem. Because we know that reputation will always precede revenue. Reputation will always precede revenue. And here's the thing, if people do not know who you are and they don't know what you do and they don't know how you can help them, they can't do business with you. Doesn't matter how awesome you are, how great of a service you are of, how much integrity you have for there and how much people love you when they meet you. If people don't know about you, they can't work with you. And so that's the power of building a reputation. And the thing is, how do you then separate yourself from everyone else in your space? The thing with that is it's really simple. It's just not easy because people get distracted. And so we have a friend, his name is Peter Sheehan. He's a big speaker and consultant and trainer. And we've kind of taken one of the things called Sheehan's Wall and we've adapted it to personal branding. And so when we work with a lot of business owners and small business owners, what typically happens is there's this wall of people that are known, and then there's people that are unknown on the other side of the wall, okay? And you want to go from being unknown to known. Now, why do you struggle with staying on the side of unknown and people not knowing who you are? Well, there's a lot of different things that happen. One of the biggest things is you're talking about so many different topics. So what I mean by that is going, hey, you might be online and you're sharing content and you're distracting people or you're confusing people because you're talking about so many different topics. Or you're offering so many different products. Like instead of launching with one, you've launched with 6 or 10 or 12 or 30 or 50. And it's so many different things that I'm not focused enough to know where I should start. Or you are managing too many different profiles. Like maybe you said, hey, this person told me I should do TikTok, so I'm doing TikTok. And then there's Clubhouse. So I'm starting to get involved in Clubhouse. And then I obviously have Instagram. Then there's LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and all the things out there that we don't even know about. But instead of targeting where your audience is, you're doing it all. And so because of that, you're not doing any of it really well. Then there's business models. And this is something we see a lot is people go, well, that person's doing it and it's working for them, so I'm going to try it. Or I can see that person, they're making a lot of money and I know I can do it better, so I'm going to do that now. And they're not committing to a business model long enough to see results with this. Or the next thing that people tend to do is that they are working too many different jobs. So it's oftentimes, and I'm sure y'all have heard this from training and coaching in the past, is that it's always best to hire someone before you're ready to hire them. It's usually when you know, like you're doing too much, you're doing all of the admin and all of the financing and then all the stocking and the ordering and then all the delivery of things. And you're wearing so many different hats that, again, you're not able to focus on anything. And then you have so many ideas. And I think this is the number one thing I see with our clients is they're oftentimes creatives. They love to start things and don't have the discipline to execute on things. And so they have so many different ideas. And ultimately, when you're talking about so many topics and you're providing different products and you're managing different profiles and you're doing all the business models to see what would bring you the money, the easiest, the fastest, best way ever, you're doing so many different jobs and you have so many ideas, what's happening is you're commoditizing yourself and you're doing too much of a commoditization of yourself and not enough uniqueness of what makes you different and stand out and why people should work with you. And so what happens is in order to go from unknown to known, because when you're unknown, everything feels like you're pushing. When you're known, you're going to know you're on the known side because you're starting to be pulled in so many directions. And so the difference of what that is, a quote from Larry Winget, is that you want to find your uniqueness and exploit it in the service of others. So you want to figure out what makes you unique in your space and use that to your advantage in order to serve as many people as possible. So one of the things that we did at Brand Builders Group is we've created this proprietary method called the Brand DNA Helix, where we help you identify what makes you unique in your space. So there's 6 questions to this. And at the top, you're going to see that's kind of, it might be a little bit bigger on your screen, but the number 1 question that we want to answer is, what problem do you solve? What problem do you solve? Here's the thing. If you don't know what problem you solve, no one else does either. And when we work with people, oftentimes when I ask the question, what problem do you solve? What they start doing is telling me what they do, not the problem they solve. They tell me how they help someone. They tell me what they offer. They tell me how they serve people and how they make money, but they're not telling me what problem do they solve. And the trick here is you want to be so clear on it that you can say that in one word. So obscurity could be one, overwhelm could be one, self-doubt could be one. I'm going to give you 4 more examples in a little bit. But ultimately, you have to figure out what problem do you solve in the world, because the number 1 secret to building a personal brand that you can monetize, and what we talk about with small business owners, is that when you have a strong personal brand, that drives more business back to your back-end business model, which is whatever your business is today. A personal brand is not a novelty. It's designed to help you build relationships and build reputation so people want to work with you. But the number 1 secret to this is knowing what problem do you solve, because people pay money to buy solutions to the problems that they have. People pay money to buy solutions to the problems that they have. So if you can solve a problem for me that I have that's driving me crazy, I'm going to pay you to do that. So with that being said, is you're not crystal clear on what problem you solve, your customers won't be either. If you're not clear on it, no one else is clear on it, which means your messaging probably isn't tight. Your sales pages probably aren't converting. Your content's probably all over the board. You don't have idea on who your true target audience is, because we're not sure on what problem we're solving. And if you don't know that, you don't know who you can best serve. So examples is Brene Brown. The problem she solves with everything is shame. Dave Ramsey, debt. Simon Sinek, purpose. And then Lewis Howes is self-doubt. These are the different problems in one word, except self-doubt's hyphenated there, that people are solved. If you look at Mother Teresa, it's poverty. Martin Luther King Jr., inequality. These were the problems that they were on a mission to solve for the entire world. So again, what problem do you solve? Because with that, you have to sell the problem as much as you sell the solution. You have to sell the problem and as much as you sell the solution. So for example, I might want this is just a very generic one. I might go, you know what? I don't want to clean my house, but do I really want to pay someone to clean it? I don't have a very big house. I can do it, whatever it might be. So I'm going back and forth. But if I had someone here selling me on the problem, go, well, quite honestly, the amount of time it would take you to clean versus all the other things you have to do for work, you could get that done. Or maybe you haven't had time to enjoy and go work out for a minute. So you just need some more time back. So for me, if you don't make it about the money, make it about the time back, I go, you know what? That would be worth it for me to pay someone to clean my house so I can go work out or go have time with friends or go get a project done that I haven't gone back to it. Because really what it is for me is going to be that time back. So again, looking at what is the problem you solve and then selling that problem with your messaging as much as the solution. And your main job as a business owner is to become an ambassador of the problem that you solve. So if you're sitting here going, okay, I get it. I heard it. You've nailed it. You've been talking about this over and over. I'm sick of hearing you ask that. I'm lost. I don't know what problem I solve. Or I could solve this and I could solve this, but I'm not sure if that's right. If you're sitting here struggling with that, That is a big thing that will hold you back in building and growing and expanding your business as quickly as possible. So what I would like to offer is you can have a free strategy call, brand strategy call with someone on our team. There is an application to fill out prior just so we have some background info on you. But if you go ahead and go to freebrandcall.com/EP, that will give you a chance to schedule a time with someone on our team where you can discuss what does this look like for my business and what problem do I solve and what do I need? Okay, so go ahead, freebrandcall.com/EP, you have that. Now, the next question that we look at is, okay, well, is the problem you solve, there's a lot of problems you can probably solve. What are you truly passionate about? Because I can solve a lot of problems, but it doesn't mean I'm necessarily passionate and excited about it. So those two things need to align, because up here is what the world needs from you, and down here is who you're designed to be. So going, what actually lights me up, or what pisses me off that I can't stand seeing, and I want to solve that for the world. But it has to align. Then we look at, well, what is it that I research naturally? If you're going, I'm kind of stuck, what do I naturally research? What blogs do I read? What books do I read? What do I listen to? Podcasts? What do I naturally seek out when I have time? And then going, what do I have results in? It's so funny that I think about how I got into branding is I just thought it was like I fell into it, but I look at my entire life and I've been doing things in branding since I was in high school. And it's just like, it started with branding my best friend to become homecoming queen. And it's just like all these silly things. But when you look back at your life, you go, no, I've been doing this and I had no idea. So what do you have results in? Then what would people be willing to buy from you? And with that, there's a bunch of different ways to make money when it comes to personal branding and your business model. There's products. So those are like physical products. There's ads and affiliates, so sponsorships, which you need a large audience for. There's information. So a lot of times when people are in a service business, like maybe they're a therapist or they're a dentist, or basically you're getting paid for time to deliver a service, they often want to create some sort of information. So that could be a course, that could be retreats, that could be seminars. There's deals, so like TV deals and book deals. And then there's services, which ultimately is your fastest path to cash, but it's also the hardest to scale. So oftentimes you look at what you have to do today and then how your business model will change over time. So it's going, what would people actually want to buy? And then going, what type of business am I building? Many times when people start their own business, it's because they want to create freedom and flexibility in their lives. And then it goes back to that old quote we hear is like, you trade working 40 hours for someone else to work 100 for yourself, right? So when it looks at what type of business are you building, if you got into this for freedom and flexibility, you want to consider, is the business I'm building digital? Is it creating automation where it just runs on itself? Is it recurring, meaning can I create recurring revenue with this where I'm not constantly scattering for new customers or clients? Is it evergreen, meaning I create it once and it's done? And is it scalable? Is my business scalable? So when we look at this, is we want to create businesses that are dayers as much as possible in order to have that freedom and flexibility that we do desire. So going back up to this again, is these questions, is who the world needs you to be and who you're designed to be. And in the middle here, the intersection is where we find your uniqueness. And then from there, we build out your target audience and how do we package you and how do we position your brand and what do you say yes to? What do you say no to? But ultimately, we want to know what your uniqueness is so then we can use that. So then the next thing is going, well, okay, I know what this is. I have my problem myself. I have my business model. How do I get more people to do business with me? And the thing is that comes down to creating trust. What happens is a lot of people try to differentiate themselves based on what they know, their knowledge, not necessarily wisdom, but knowledge. They try to differentiate themselves based on knowledge. And who wins at the end of the day are the ones that differentiate themselves based on trust. Based on trust. The key to going from unknown to known is here. You've established trust in the marketplace. People know you, they want to do business with you, they trust you. So don't just differentiate yourself based on what you do. It's based on who you actually are. And here's the thing, if you suck offline, you're not going to be awesome online. If you're not a great person, which I doubt anyone is not here, but if you're not a great person, like, this isn't going to help you. Ultimately, you have to be someone that lives with that integrity and that trust, because that will portray into everything else that you do. A brand is what people think of when they think of you. A reputation is an assessment of your trustworthiness. A reputation is an assessment of your trustworthiness, because people don't do business with companies and how much knowledge and the services and products. Like, there's so much of this. And I talk about this all the time, is Nashville has such a, that's where I live, in Nashville, Tennessee. Love it here. It's amazing. Come visit. But Nashville has a very competitive restaurant scene. And so there's a bunch of actually pretty good, and depending where you live, you might debate this, but Mexican restaurants. And they just put in a new one, and I went to it, and the food was okay and the drinks were okay, but the service sucked. And I'm just like, there's so many people in this market that do what you do. The fact that your service sucks will be the reason why I never come back here, because I can go get great food and great drinks in a million other places in Nashville. I don't have to come here, because it's not the service. It's not about that they have quesadillas or whatever it might be, great guac, whatever it might be, or a great location. That's not what I'm doing business with. What I'm doing business with are people. So people don't do business with all these other things. They do business with people. So what we need to do is we need to build trust with people. So how do you build trust? Well, that's the power of social media, is they need to see you. You can hop on and go live and get people to see you. It doesn't have to run your life. You don't have to do it all the dang time, excuse me. But they do need to see you, because when they see you consistently, then they start feeling like they know you. And that's the thing. People go, well, why does anyone care what I'm doing? Well, one of my favorite people and who I admire the most and who's my celebrity crush is Gwen Stefani. I want to know where Gwen's going out to eat. I want to know what she's doing when she's at home. I'm curious. It makes me feel like I know her, which I know sounds silly, but you think about it, is when you think about people you admire, you're curious about these things. And then the last part of this is learn from you. They need to learn from you. And so one of the things and that's by providing a bunch of great content that shares with them what you do and what you offer, but how it benefits them. They don't care about what you do. They care about, what problem are you solving for me, and how is this going to benefit me personally? So what we've done is we've created what's called a relationship engine. And we'll teach you, I'll kind of run you through what this looks like and how it works. I'm going to give you a very high level overview, because there's a lot to this. But a relationship engine, as you can see here, is a digital and automated ecosystem that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to find, attract, and introduce people to who you are and what you do. Ultimately, it's like having a sales force that never calls in sick, never messes up, never frustrates you, and never creates customer service issues, right? So this is an automated system. And with that, people go, well, I don't know how to do that. That's fine. We're going to share with you how to do it. And this starts with a blog. So people go, well, blogs are so old. Like, no one does a blog anymore. Do I really need to do a blog? Yes, you do. Because you probably heard this before, is if you're building your platforms on other things, meaning like Instagram or LinkedIn, and you go, I have 5,000 connections on LinkedIn. Awesome. Do you own it? You don't. You never want to build your business on rented real estate. You own your blog. You own your website. It's not someone else's. So if things change tomorrow, get shut down tomorrow, you're still in control of your business, your email list, your customers, fans, followers, clients, all the things. So you want to have your blog on your website. This is where you provide a lot of free content. And with that, what a lot of people tend to do is they'll build their relationship engine left to right. And what we want to do is build it right to left. So your blog is where free content is. Before you start putting a ton of free content out there, you want to build the back end. So what that means is you want to have a video funnel, a direct funnel, and a webinar funnel. So a video funnel ultimately is a 4-day video course that at the end has a call to action for someone to move forward with what you do. Okay, so that's one thing. Again, this works for financial services. Request a call could be the call to action. Request a free consultation. If you're selling something that is a product, it's buy now. Like, here, go to this and buy this. I just shared with you why you need it. Now buy it. So that's a video funnel. A direct funnel is the direct call to action. Book this call, buy here, buy now. You see this a lot with books, like buy the book. That's a direct call to action. And then there's a webinar funnel. And this is something, it depends on your business model, whether a webinar funnel or a video funnel makes more sense. Ultimately, at some point, you'll want both, but it's great to start with one. But a webinar funnel is really more of an evergreen webinar that at the end, there's a call to action, whether it goes to a sales page or to request a call. Ultimately, it's just another way. This is more of a deep dive training versus it's spread out over 4 days, but typically the content is also a little bit different. So this needs to be on the sidebar of your blog, okay? Then you start pumping out free content. Now we got to get eyes on the content. So what that looks like is you want to go ahead and have free traffic sources. So the free traffic sources are going to be like SEO, so getting really clear on what your keywords are and what gets the most thing. And Neil Patel has a great tool for this called Uber Suggest, if you haven't heard of it. He's kind of like the SEO guru is Neil Patel. Then we have email. So your email list, that's something that you really want to focus on growing. We also have podcasts. So being a guest on podcasts or even starting your own podcast, if it makes sense, is a way to drive free traffic. Doing webinars like this, social media. So this is where using your platforms to share your content and pushing people back to your blog. And then there's going to be press, right? Getting local features, going on local news channels. But these are all free traffic sources that should drive people back to your blog, where they can either choose to get more content where they're learning from you and they're getting value from you, or they can choose to opt into a funnel, which also builds an email list and then ultimately has a higher success of them doing business with you. So an example of this, and this is something I always actually really like to offer y'all, is our free online summit, where if you go to the link influentialpersonalbrandsummit.com/L, this is 26 of some of the biggest names in personal brands of how they actually started their business from scratch, and how they built their brand to be the success that it is today. This is awesome. It's some people, this is probably the number one thing that I get the most people giving me feedback of how awesome it is. So I would really suggest y'all going to that and get some ideas of, if you go, hey, I've thought about writing a book or starting a podcast, or hey, I want sponsorships, or I just have this brick and mortar business. How do I grow that? Or I want to be a speaker. All of these things apply. Or how do I get more speaking engagements to drive more business back to what I'm doing? Again, these are the lessons and things that you'll talk about in this summit. So those are free traffic sources. Then there's paid traffic sources. You don't want to start doing paid traffic sources. And this is one of the biggest things that I see people make a mistake in, is they start paying for ads before they're ready. It is possible to do the right thing at the wrong time. And that's one of the things we see all the time, is people will start doing ads because they're told they should. They've seen it work. There's a lot of great things that can come from ads. But I've also seen a lot of people drain a lot of money very, very quickly by doing it too soon. You want to make sure your analytics are tight. You want to make sure your back end's tight. You want to make sure you have conversion strategies, all the things before you start diving into paid traffic. So some of the paid traffic sources is like Google AdWords, traditional advertising, pay per click, paying to boost posts, and paying influencers to market what you're doing. Okay, so again, doing this too soon can cause you to spend a lot of money very quickly that is unnecessary to spend. I hear a lot of people also tend to complain to me. It's going, well, you know what, Elle, like, this sounds great. This also sounds like a lot of work. Here's the thing. Just like my nephew, Even if you don't like it, you still have to do it. This was the Halloween costume his parents chose for him. He didn't like it. He's normally this happy baby boy. They didn't care. They put him in it, and he wasn't so happy anymore. You still have to do it, even if you don't like it, because the future of marketing and the future of growing your business, the fastest, easiest way possible, is not about who has the best content. It's not about the best content. This is why you see people online where they put out content and they have millions of followers, and you go, that was the lamest thing I've ever read or ever listened to or ever seen in my life. It's not about the best content. So take that pressure off if you're going, I'm not a content creator. It's about who has the most sophisticated system and who has their things dialed in, they're tight, they know what they're doing, they're focused, and they have it set up for conversion. It's about the systems in place. So invest your time and energy in the systems more than creating clever content. Now, the last component to this is going to be get paid. And this is ultimately the funnest thing, is where you're actually getting paid to then drive more business back to your business. And so what that looks like is you're getting paid to speak, you're getting paid to write books, you're getting paid to host shows, you're getting paid to promote things, but ultimately getting paid to drive more traffic. So this is the overarching big picture of what this looks like, is going, you want to start a blog, you want to build a back end with funnel so you can capture and convert people. And then on the front end, you want to then spend, once this is all built, then all of your energy is spent driving people back to this to convert them here. So then it's going, the problem is, well, it's about content. So what content do I need to put on my blog? How do I know what content to put? How do I know what people want? Again, it goes back to knowing the problem you solve, being super clear on your target audience, not just their demographics, but their psychographics. But it's true, you do have to be consistent with content. And one of my favorite quotes is actually that Jay Baer, media companies don't run on inspiration, meaning they don't put out news shows and don't go live when they're inspired and motivated to do it. They run on perspiration, meaning they have a system, they have a schedule, they stick to it no matter what. And so what we went ahead and done is we've designed what's called the content diamond, because we know that content is some people's biggest roadblocks. We know that content is one of the things that some people are not necessarily the most gifted in. And so the thing is, we don't want you spending your days and days and days and hours and hours and hours stressed about creating content. That's not effective for anyone. So what the content diamond is, it's a structure and detailed checklist that allows you to consistently create one piece of content that is then easily distributed among multiple platforms. So the idea is you want to spend more time repurposing existing content before you spend time creating new content. So the idea is repurposing versus creation. So how this works is ultimately what you want to do is create a list of 52 questions that your avatar, your target audience has for you. With that being said, there's 52 weeks in a year. That's why you're writing out 52 questions. If you want 2 years worth of questions on content, well, then double that. But with that being said, you want to create your list of 52. This list of 52 then has to be in unique order. So you don't want to do, okay, well, they have this question and that question leads to this one and then it leads to that one. You want to scramble them, because the idea is that people pay for organization of content. So it doesn't matter how much free content you give out there. Most people won't be able to take that and implement it themselves. So they're going to need your help. So what that looks like is, after 52 questions, is you want to pick one question to answer that week. So you take 2 minutes to prepare to answer that question. And then you take 2 minutes to think about, or excuse me, 3 minutes on the problem, and then 3 minutes on the solution. So one question to answer, 2 minutes to prepare, and then you record 3 minutes on the problem, because we talked about this earlier. You want to spend more time selling the problem than doing the solution. Okay. So record 3 minutes on the problem and 3 minutes on the solution. Then you take this recording, and ultimately you can choose to do Facebook Live, Instagram Live, LinkedIn Live, wherever your platform, wherever your people are. We just always say Facebook Live. So you want to record this or go live and do it on Facebook, okay? Then once this is recorded, once this is live, you send it down a few different paths. One path is the text and imagery. So you're going to send this over to something like temi.com, rev.com. You can either start Microsoft Word or Google Sheets and like hit the record button. But ultimately, this needs to be transcribed. Then you have someone or yourself, ideally not you, but someone for a low hourly rate that will clean it up for you, and have the text of your video. That text then is going to be pulled. You want to pull out 3 to 6 different pull quotes from it, where you have social templates, you slap it on. This will then also be repurposed on your blog with the text as the article. The images from it, you want to pull and use those. And then you want to post that to LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram. Again, all of the social platforms are really based on where you're focused on. So that's the text and imagery. Then you want to send it down video and audio. So you want to pull an MP4 for it. You want to pull the video. You want to post it to YouTube. You can repurpose it into a short form podcast if you want to. And again, post video content on LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever your target audience is. After you've done that, what you want to do is then bring it back together. So you have your text, your images, your video, your audio. You pull it back together and you post it on your blog. Okay, so if you look at your blog, you have your video at the top. You want to include captions because studies show that more people watch video on mute than they do with the sound on because they're watching them when they should be working. So you want to have captions there. You want to have your share buttons. You want to have your pull quotes. You want to have the article, comments turned on, and then you want to have your sidebar built out of what we shared earlier today. So again, that's how you do it. So every week, the idea is you're not spending more than 10 minutes on the creation of it. And then you have someone on your team. Ideally, this is where you bring someone in if you're not doing it yourself and you're repurposing. And you can do this using Canva. You don't have to be super throwing a ton of money into this. It's very easy to spend a lot of money very quickly in branding. There's a lot of ways to do it without spending a ton of money. So again, but you want to make sure you're doing this consistently and you have a system for it. Here's the thing. Don't worry about teaching too much. Okay. It's not about too much. People don't care so much about too much. They don't pay for that information. They pay for someone to help them apply it. Okay. So don't worry about teaching too much or giving away too much or giving away like the secret sauce. You're not going to. Again, people don't remember that stuff. You don't pay for information. They're paying for application. Ideally, you have someone who's doing this for you. If not, you're going to create a system where you can do it consistently and have pieces in place for it. But again, I want to offer y'all, if you're going, wow, there was a lot on here that you just covered. That was a ton of information. I know I need some of it. I don't know where to start. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Totally okay. Again, just talk to someone on our team. They can help with this. We can put together a plan for you. It's freebrandcall.com/EP. But ultimately, what I would like to leave y'all with before we go to Q&A is don't focus on creating customers. Create fans. If your clients, customers, if people around you are fans of you, what they're going to do is start becoming your sales force for you. Think about the things you buy. If you see a friend and like, for example, I have this blow dryer that I'm obsessed with and my mom was just in town. She's like, well, I have mine. I'm like, no, use mine. It's so great. Right. And I'm getting her hyped about it. She used it that day. She was like, I need to go buy this. I'm like, yes, I told you. Right. That's how simple it works is if you have great stuff that you're offering, if you are a great company, a great business owner, where people love you and they know you and they trust you, it's like, it's going to be easy for you to grow because people are going to be talking about you. They're going to be sharing what you do. When they hear someone say something, they're going to know, oh, you're the person that they need to go to. So focus on creating fans, even though fans may not buy today, but they may buy in the future. I had someone email me this morning when I woke up going, hey, I'm ready to do this now. And I go, what changed for them? And they said, I just consistently kept watching you and I realized I can drag my feet or I can jump in and I'm ready to jump in. Great, let's do it. Again, that's because there's consistent value being put in front of them that eventually will make them comfortable with moving forward. So focus on creating fans, and don't forget, building a business is not nearly as valuable as building reputation. If you ever have to pivot in your business, if things change and something hits and your business, gosh forbid, like goes aside one day, goes away one day, you can always start over and build something else or pivot in your business whenever you want, as long as you have a strong reputation. So with that, I'll turn it back to Devani to do some Q&A.
Elle, that was fantastic. I'm just looking at my notes really quickly, and there's so many that jump out to me. Lack of revenue is not your problem. Lack of reputation is. What people think of you, what people think of you, you know, what they associate you with is your reputation after all, at the end of the day, right? Mm-hmm. And the reputation formula you've laid out for us today, I think this is going to be a great source for people to go back to and really hone in on their notes and just apply it to their business, because you did provide quite a bit of information for all of us today to just, you know, think through our own businesses and how we can shift or better apply the practices and principles you shared with us. Mm-hmm. But as Elle mentioned, feel free to put any questions you have in the chat box right now. But while we're waiting on that, we do have one from Jeremy Stevenson, was asking, what is the best way to automate content creation?
Well, that would be the content diamond, is then you repurpose it. But with automating the content, is it more of like scheduling? Is that what you're asking, Jeremy? Or what specifically are you asking? Otter AI is great. Conversion.ai. So actually one of my friends started Conversion.ai, which is super awesome. That is more of the messaging, I believe, versus their videos. So you still have to create it, but it goes back to truly actually knowing your target audience, your avatar so well. And I see a lot of people who will say to me, well, I've because all the programs and courses out there talk about avatar and core target audience. What I also find is they don't go deep enough. And so when people say it's this or that, if you don't have like where you can share your target avatar with someone and they can picture this person and go, oh, I get this person, or I can think of someone I know in my life just like this person because you've described them so well, that will then make creating content a lot easier and faster because you know what's needed for them. We know that typically the best person to serve is someone that you once were. So that's a big question. So it's more about what specifically around the automation of content are you asking? And then how to improve what people think of me or build the trust. Well, that also goes, how to improve what people think of you, Mary. Is that okay if I just do that, Devani, if I just look at the chat? Okay.
That works for you.
So how do you improve what people think about you or build the trust? Well, I think it's getting clear on how you want people to see you, and then looking at what are you doing currently to contribute to that messaging, and that how much people seeing you, what are you putting out? And that's where the relationship ending and the content diamond is really helpful, is the online stuff. Again, too, is if you're not the most savvy online, find someone to help you, but also being out in the community, doing things like this, depending on what your business is, if it makes sense for you to do a presentation, getting involved in organizations, being on boards, all of that helps people trust you because they see you. I used to make it a mission where people would, in my community, like when I would go network, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I see you everywhere. And it wasn't that I was everywhere. I was just very particular and strategic about where I went and who I spent time with. And because those people were also quote unquote everywhere. So there's a lot of things you can do, Mary, with that, but getting started with going, what do you want people to say? What are they saying? Where's the gap? And then how should we close the gap? Thank you for yes, no sweat cleaning. Love it. You mentioned Canva. Do they charge much per? So Canva is really more of a do-it-yourself, but it's super easy to do it yourself. It's a website. They have a free version and then a premium version. I can't remember how much the premium is. So it would be you doing it. If you want someone to do it yourself, there's websites like Upwork There's another one I'm drawing a blank on where they're kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they work really well and you find amazing people and get really great deals. And other times you get what you paid for and you go, oh, I wish I didn't pay for that. So you can also, there's a website called handshake.org or something like that. You would have to Google it. But basically what Handshake is, it partners with universities to find student interns. And so if you have a reputable business, they will actually connect you with interns and you can interview them. Mostly it's paid internships. They're between $10, $15, $20 an hour. We just hired a video editor through that, through a local university, and they're phenomenal. But that's a great way to get help for lower costs versus paying, $100 an hour for someone. Okay, you mentioned Wagger to Weisler's and stylesample.com. Lisa, I'm not sure what you're referring to. So there's there's a ton of graphic design services. Just depends on what you're looking to spend. Other questions?
Yeah, well, more questions are coming through, Elle. I just wanted to read off the kudos that were in the chat. So Deshaun said, super helpful. Wow. I think that captioned a lot for all of us as we were watching this. We had some others beforehand that when you were sharing, about not giving your business model enough time to actually see the results. So we had a lot of people giving you kudos or kind of having an epiphany moment, if you will, when that happened. So I definitely think that spoke volumes to so many of the entrepreneurs on today that, have exhausted their business models over and over again, and they want to see those results. It's just having that patience and the ability to keep making those tweaks along the way. Mm-hmm. Well, with that being said, I don't see, I don't see there any more questions in there. There will be a replay made available today. Later on this afternoon. And the other thing I want to mention is we do have a survey that's in the chat box of today's presentation. So it's just about 2 minutes. So if you can, just feel free to click on that link and fill out that survey for us. And I also see that Elle put their website in the chat box. Do you want to share more about that website, Elle?
Oh, no. Someone had asked for the blog thing. Our brandbuildersgroup.com, a great example of everything we were talking about, because we're redoing our personal one right now, is our co-founder, Rory. His is roryvaden.com/blog. So you'll see what we're talking about. His, just so y'all know, is extreme. It's on the extreme side. So if you're going, oh my gosh, there's so much there, that's Rory's is going if you're doing all the things. But you can look at ours as well. I am unable to share the PowerPoint. I apologize about that, but it's in the replay.
And Lisa said great info, and we appreciate everybody, your interaction today, the Q&A, and your time during your lunch hour, depending on where you're tuning in. And Elle, thank you again for your time and your focus. And I hope people take you up on the opportunity to reach out to your organization for that free call and to really home in on their brands.
I appreciate it. Thank you all. So good to meet you. And the ones that didn't.
Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining today's webinar. At the Kentucky SBDC, we know small businesses are the heart of our economy. That's why our goal is to help business owners start, grow, and succeed in Kentucky. Find out more about how our no-cost business coaching, training, and resources can help your business. Visit us at KentuckySBDC.com.